Hello, everyone. I know we're still getting onto our audio. All right, and if you can just make sure you are muted as you're coming in, that would be amazing. In the bottom left corner of your screen, if you are not muted, there's a little microphone, bottom left corner of the screen that says mute. I would much appreciate it if you clicked that for the time being. All right, we'll wait for some other people to come on in. Already in the triple digits, we love it. How's everyone doing? You can put in the chat if you want. You can say, if you're not in Saskatchewan, for example, or maybe just, or actually, if you are in Saskatchewan, where are you right now? What city are you in? Like I'm in Regina. I'm just going to write Regina, SK. Hello, hello, hello. I love all the hellos. Calgary. Perfect. Oh, okay. A lot of people here in Saskatchewan now. Oh, and Bogota and Colombia. Amazing. Okay. This is my favorite part, just to see where everyone is at the same time. It's always fascinating to me. It's one of those things that never gets old, that it's a different time. If you're not in this province yet, here we are at the same time. It's amazing. All right. Perfect. Keep on writing things in there if you want. We're good. So how are we feeling? Dead because of the way IRCC is going about things. Oh boy. I'm so sorry. I'm actually, I'm American. I'm technically international. I still don't have a PR. I'm on a work permit. And I know that IRCC stress all too well. I am so sorry. I really do get it. All right. So I think we're going to get started. Again, you can write where you're from still, or maybe what temperature it is or what time it is where you are. If it's not here in Saskatchewan, that's always kind of fun to see. Okay, so in the meantime, I will quickly introduce myself. If you weren't at the session on Tuesday, because we have two sessions this week of Q&A, and the next week we technically have 3. So if you were here on Tuesday, that was the session on getting settled and connected, which we went over kind of the aspects of when you first get here, housing, lockers, that sort of thing, right? But today we are focusing on academic success. So we have representatives from the library, from learning services, from accessibility services, and our student advocate from the Spsa. And we do have Nympha Gill here as well with international. We won't be going through international questions the way we did on Tuesday if you were here, just because we do have, this is more specifically, we sort of went past that, but we still have Nympha here if you do have some questions that you need to ask in the chat. She will try to answer them as much as she can toward the end of the session, especially, but you can always email international@saskpolytech.ca for any other questions that you have, okay? So I know a lot of us are dealing with our visas, and unfortunately, if I had a separate session for that, that'd be great, but there is an international orientation that will be happening. It will be in person in later August, but we'll get to that, okay? So your question, if you have one right now, we will try and answer them as best as possible. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just start sharing my screen. We're going to just get started. Let me just make sure I share the correct screen because I had a little hiccup last time where I was sharing the wrong one. So is that good? Everyone, it's not presentation view for anyone, right? It's just the screen, the PowerPoint. You don't see my notes? Okay. That happened last time. Okay. So first of all, hello. If you weren't at the Tuesday session, I'll still give another warm welcome to Sask Polytech, whether you are here in person or not. We are super excited to have you, and we're doing stuff in person now, so we could actually see your faces depending on what campus you're on. So we're very excited about that. Okay. So yes, this is the series on academic success. There will be 3 more next week on different departments. If you have already registered for them, great. If not, I will send that follow-up link in an email to everyone after this, so you will know where to go. You will know what to do, I promise. Okay. So just a couple of quick housekeeping things about Zoom. So I think a lot of you have probably worked on Zoom or are familiar with it in some way after the past few years, right? But in case you aren't sure, make sure you are muted when you're not actively talking, okay? So once again, that is the bottom left corner of your screen where there's that microphone. Looks like this. So make sure you're muted, because even when 3 people are unmuted and you can just hear background noise, it gets a little distracting. Okay, so make sure you are muted. Also, make sure and use this chat function to ask questions. There's just too many of you to be able to do it all vocally. So if you can just put that in the chat, we will try and get to them as soon as possible. Someone might be messaging you in the chat, or we might answer it out loud. Just depends on the question, okay? So make sure that you are never recording the session or anything without letting everyone know, getting everyone's consent. So I probably should have said this earlier. This is on me. The meeting is being recorded as we speak. So if your video is off and everything, don't worry. You're not going to quote, be in the recording, but it's still one of those things. We need to get everyone's consent, okay? So this probably won't really be relevant in here, but if for any reason my video or whoever is speaking starts cutting out, sometimes if other people, like a lot of other people have their videos on, that can be a reason why. So just make sure your video is off for the time being. But just remember, some classes actually require you, if you were doing it online. I guess we're not online anymore, but some online classes and professors and instructors make you have your camera on. So it does depend on the situation, okay? So that is about it for meeting etiquette. That's the boring stuff. So let us move on to our land acknowledgement. So for those of you who may not be familiar, or you're maybe not from Canada, or this is just not sounding like something that you're super aware of, it is really important that we do land acknowledgements. So I will do the land acknowledgement first, and then I will explain why we do it. Okay, so we would like to acknowledge that Saskatchewan Polytechnic is situated on Treaty 4 and Treaty 6 territories and the ancestral lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota peoples, and the traditional homeland of the Métis. So what is a land acknowledgement? Why do we do these? There is a link that I'm going to have Amanda send in the chat that you can click and maybe look at it later after this presentation. I really recommend you read that. But a land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples of what is now called Canada and these traditional territories. So it is important to understand that there is a longstanding history that's brought us to reside here, to settle here, to play here, to work here. So land acknowledgements also don't exist in like a past tense or historical context, because colonialism is a current ongoing process. We all have a place in it. So it's just really good to keep ourselves educated. So this is why land acknowledgements are so important though. And you will probably hear your instructors do them, especially on the first day of classes, and you will hear them in presentations. So yeah, good to know that stuff, okay? Always keeping an open mind and educating ourselves. All right, so I want to give a quick rundown of who's on our Q&A panel today. So if you were at the first session, you will know that I was answering some questions. I am with Student Life. So again, I should probably formally introduce myself to those of you who may not remember me, or you haven't been to a session yet, but I am Kelsey Murrow. I am located on the Regina campus, Treaty 4 territory. However, I also cover the Moose Jaw campus. So if you are on either of those campuses in the South, you'll probably see me, you'll hear my loud voice, you will know where I am. And I want to quickly just I want to point out Amanda Powers here. Okay, she is our other South Student Life Coordinator. She is mainly located in Regina. She will be on Moose Jaw sometimes, though I will probably be there a little bit more, but she's another friendly face that you will see around. You can always email us. I will send the contact information after, but with any questions about starting school or anything at all, really, we can send you in the right direction. So you can also email us at studentlife@saskpolytech.ca. Once again, I will send you that email. You will have it in front of you. Don't feel like you have to write this down. Okay, so we also have Nina Vereshchagin from Library Services. We've got Heather Tway from Learning Services, Amy Kaufman from Accessibility Services, Laura Leslie, our student advocate from the Sask Polytech Students Association, and then we have Nympha Gill from International. So let's just get it going. We're going to start with Miss Nina. She will answer some frequently asked questions, and then we will open the floor for other specific questions about the library. And I please ask you, try and keep these questions on topic. We will do all other questions later toward the end, but let's try and stick to the library, okay? So I'm going to open the floor to Miss Nina.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Yes, okay. So welcome. I am coming to you from our Saskatoon campus on Treaty 4 territory, and my office is in the library. The library is a place on campus that you're all going to want to check out, because not only do we have all of our great library services and library staff, but we also have learning services at 3 of our campus locations. And that is, you're going to hear from Heather later, and she'll tell you all the great things that they can do for you. So the first question I have here is, what do library staff help with? Or, we often get asked, like, what do I need the library for? Like, what the heck do librarians even do? So we help with a lot of things. Our main thing that we help students with is we assist you with questions and research, particularly when it comes to assignments that you're going to have in your programs. So you might have to do a research paper, or even if it's not a research paper, you might have to do something that requires you to format something in a certain way. Has anybody ever heard of APA or MLA? Can give me a thumbs up or a high five or something. Yeah, I'm getting a thumbs up here. Okay, so some have. So those are manuals that have rules for how to format your paper, and they are not very fun. Not many people like them. So as a student, you can come to us and we will help you figure that out. We also have a chat service on our website, and our website is going to be somewhere you want to check out. Maybe Kelsey or Amanda can stick the link into chat. That is going to be if you are a remote student and you'd like to just chat with someone quickly, or you can't get into campus, or if you just want to chat instead of coming in and talking to someone on purpose in person. So that is a really important thing. We will help with really any question that you have. If we don't have the answer to the question, we'll find the person who does, because we're kind of friends with everybody at the institution. Do you want me to pause after each question, Kelsey, or do you just want me to slam through them?
I think we'll go through them. Okay. I think we'll go through them and then we'll open up the floor afterward and then go from there. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a lot of talking. I might just be like, hey, Kelsey, say a few words in between each question I answer. All right. Okay, so what are the library hours? This is going to be important. If you do want to come and use the library to study or to meet with friends and do some group work, you may, like a lot of Sask Polytech programs do have a lot of group work. So you may want to come and just like use our shared space or our group study rooms. You can do that from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. are our hours. So we do have some evening hours for those of you who kind of need an escape. Oh, we've got somebody. Oh, there we go. Friday, we're open from 8 to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday. Okay, pay attention. Regina and Saskatoon, 12 to 6. Moose Jaw and Prince Albert, 1 to 6. That's Saturday and Sunday. And if you visit the library website, it currently right now, if you click on library hours, has just our current hours, which we aren't open weekends right now, but starting August, whatever the first day of next week is, or that last week in August rather, starting August 29th, that's when we move into those new hours. So you'll be able to find that on our website, right? And our chat service, the one that I was telling you, is a really great opportunity for you to get answers to any questions. That is open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, 12 to 6 p.m. And that's going to be an actual human being who answers your questions and helps you find the right supports that you need. Okay, and then another great way to get a hold of us, I'm going to put in chat, is through our social media channels. So I've just put our Instagram and our Facebook links into the chat. I highly recommend that you follow us, especially on Instagram, for a number of reasons. We will promote really anything that's going on within the campus community in terms of academic supports. So if Learning Services has a bunch of writing sessions coming up, we are usually the ones who post about it. We hold contests all the time to win, bookstore gift cards, or I think we're going to do a giant bucket of candy next week. If anybody out there likes candy, just general fun things like that. And we will also post there when the therapy dogs are coming to visit. So we sometimes host therapy dogs in our space. So if you're interested in that, be sure to follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook, and we can connect with you there. I think that's all I have to say about that. What's your preference, Facebook or Instagram? Tell me in the chat so we can break this up a little bit. Or none.
Diane,
I'm not watching
either.
Neither, yeah. I'm like TikTok, you'll start naming social medias I haven't even heard of. All right, so again, things that you can do in the library. One is you can print, scan, and photocopy. There are what are they called? What are the printers and scanners called now? Somebody else help me. There's this system that runs through the entire organization. That's what I'm going to say. And whenever you're logged into a SAS Polytech computer, you basically can send your print job off and it will show up on, any one of these printers that is in the system. I think that's a good way to describe it. Colleagues, please shake your head. Yes. So we have a few of those printers, scanners, and photocopiers in the library space. The good thing about that is if you are having trouble with them, which everybody has trouble with printers all the time, you can come and ask one of our staff members to help you. Okay. And it's also a place where we recommend that people go and buy we have these little purple fobs for printing that you can get it all signed up with your username and your password. And you just scan that at the printer. It's really easy and you can kind of fill those up with money. I think the fobs cost $2 at the bookstore. And so from then on, you will just be able to print really easily all the time. And the library is one of the places you can add money to your print account. You can also do it online. Other reasons you might want to visit the library is we have group study rooms, we have tables for studying, doing homework, collaborating. We have computers that are free for you to use. Log in with your student username and password. We have pods, which are like quiet, private homework areas. And of course, we have our helpful staff. And last but not least, how do I borrow an item from the library? Well, you can borrow books, DVDs, magazines. We have lots of items that are supplementary to your learning. So we do not have textbooks. I'm just going to put that out there before anybody asks me that. We do not have textbooks. We only have supplementary learning materials. And we also have lots of online resources, ebooks, journals, newspapers, videos, tons and tons of electronic videos that can help you with your learning. And all of these things are going to be what you need to get those research assignments done. The way that you use them is if it's an online resource, you just log in, do your SAS Polytech stuff, do all that fun multi-factor authentication, good time stuff, or to borrow something physical, you just need to bring a piece of photo ID because we don't have student cards for borrowing anymore. I think that is kind of the gist of all my FAQs. So does anybody have any questions for me?
You say so far the questions involved paying, but Amanda did just send the link about $10 per page for black and white, 25 cents per page for color. We sent the link as well. So does anyone else have any questions? Yeah, about the library? It could be printing, but I feel like most of the resources there will have all that information. Though if you're never sure, talk to someone in the library, right?
Well, what I would say too is when I was a student, printing was a big stress for me. And I always went to the library to print. It might seem a little bit costly, but I think that it's cheaper than buying your own printer and the effort of having to constantly purchase supplies. So I highly recommend that if that's something that you think you'll be doing a lot of. Did you post the link to that site that has all the questions, Kelsey?
No, but I will throw that in there.
So we do have a more detailed option, which basically goes through these 4 questions in detail in tabs. So if you want to revisit any of the things that I talked about here, you can go in there and read that information. And also on the last tab, there is a win a prize. Oh, Kelsey's email. There is a win a prize option if you want to enter in to win a $25 bookstore gift card. And if you follow us on social media, there will be lots and lots more opportunities to win stuff.
Right.
I think that's it for me, if there's no questions.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of questions about textbooks. That is not the library. Okay, that is through the bookstore. So I think, yeah, we might, if you want Amanda to throw in the link to the bookstore, that is a separate entity from the library. Okay. So just check online there. I'm trying to find that link, but oh, there we go. Heather has it. Wonderful. Thank you, Heather. All right. Well, if there's no other questions there. Okay, and Laura will mention the used textbooks in SPSA as well. So I think we're going to move on because we know we have a few things to go through. Oh, there's a good one. If I borrow a book from the library and I can't return it on time, do you have to pay a fee?
No, you don't. So we do not have late fines at the library. We do obviously encourage everybody to get their books back so that other students can borrow. But no, we do not have late fees. What we do have though is missing or damaged fees. So if you never return it, a hold will be placed onto your SAS Polytech account that will stop you from being able to register and stuff. So just make sure you return it eventually. But yeah, no late fees right now. Yeah. Which is pretty nice.
It's actually nice. We also have a question about, is there Wi-Fi in the library? There's Wi-Fi all over campus.
Of course.
Can't live without that. It's a fair question though. You never know. Okay. So if there are other questions then that you throw in the chat when everything else is going on, when we move on, then Nina, maybe if you wanted to, throw an answer in the chat, but I think we should be good. There are the answers, just like Nina just posted in the chat on another, it's all the answers to these questions basically. Okay. And again, I will send contact information about the library after the fact. Okay, this will be the last one we ask. Okay. Hey, it's good to know.
That's a good question. I see that. Can we return a book to any of the libraries? Yeah, for sure. Well, no, sorry. You're probably actually talking about public libraries, I would guess. So only to a SAS Polytech library. However, there's an MUW library and a Saskatoon main campus library. And yes, if you returned to either one, there would be no issue. Or if you were in Regina and you returned it again, there would be no issue, but not to a public library. And in the same vein, you can borrow a book from any one of our libraries. So if you don't find it here on the shelf at your campus, you can just ask a library staff member if we have it, and they will get it to you if we have it.
Oh, this is a good question. So basically like interlibrary loans. Are you able to order a book from somewhere else that is not on your campus?
Yes, you are. So again, just come and talk to library staff, or on our library website, there is a button called interlibrary loans. You can fill that out and we can pretty much get you any book or article or item that you want from another library. You just have to wait a couple of days.
And then I am seeing more textbook questions. Once again, at the very, very end, if you want, we can talk textbooks a bit just with me or something, but textbooks, all of that is separate from the library. So the questions about textbooks are not going to be answered by Nina. Okay. All right. 3 weeks to borrow a book. Perfect. Okay. We are going to move on just for the sake of time. I know there's a lot going on. I love it. I'm glad there's so many questions, but once again, other questions, you can probably find them on that link. And if not, you can ask the library chat. That link was also sent. Okay. So we are going to move on. Thank you so much, Nina. Much appreciated. You're wonderful. So we are going to move on. These are, in a similar vein. So to learning services. Think the L in the L, learning services library. There's a lot of overlap, but I will still give the floor here to Heather.
Thanks, Kelsey. All right, I'm Heather Tway. I am on the Regina campus, but learning services is available across all of our campuses across the province. So I'm glad we're coming right after the library because, again, like Kelsey said, we are really connected and we're both the LS people. And as Nina mentioned, learning services is actually located within the library on most of our campuses. The one exception is Moose Jaw. We're downstairs. But if you go to the library on any campus and be like, where's learning services? They will point you in the right direction. Okay, so find the library, you'll find us. These are some really common questions that we get in learning services. To be honest, the answer to most of them is come to learning service. Okay, so just some of the questions we often get are, how do I write a research paper? So maybe you're fresh out of high school, or you've been working for a few years and you're coming back and you're like, what do they mean by research paper? My instructor talks about like citation and referencing. What does that mean? Again, learning services can help you with that. Okay, so with that, we especially work with the library because there are people who talk about MLA, APA, there are experts, but then we help with other things such as, how to write a paragraph, how to write grammatically correctly. Okay. So we also do a lot of study skills. Okay. So students will come to us first week or second week and be like, I can't get through my reading. I'm getting behind. What do I do? We're like, okay, Are you reading your textbook like a novel, like one page at a time? No, don't do that. And if you're like, oh, I assume that's how you read it, make an appointment with us. We will teach you how to read your textbook efficiently. Because getting through hundreds and hundreds of pages a week is difficult. Okay? So we can give you tips and tricks on that as well. Third thing, kind of main category we do are like math and science skills. So again, if you're just out of high school, or if you haven't been in school for a while, and you're like, it's been a lot of years since I did math, we will help you with that math. The main thing to remember about the type of academic support we give is that we help with any class you're taking. Okay? We have people that can help with any sort of class content, and kind of just get you up to speed, make you feel more confident, so you can, really excel in your classes. Yeah. So the last three questions are kind of more less learning services related, but ones we often get. So one is like, where do I find the link to my Zoom class? Okay. Will they be recorded? Do I need to show up, okay, when they're scheduled? The answer is basically Brightspace. Okay. So Brightspace is what we call a learning management system. It's just the online spot where you get all your class stuff. So if you have Zoom classes, there'll be a link in there. If you're not sure where to find it, again, come talk to Learning Services. Will your classes be recorded if they're online? It depends. Then we'll just send you to talk to your instructor because they're the ones who know that. And do you need to show up when they're scheduled? Yes. That is the one thing about online classes. Your classes aren't just kind of show up when you want. You are going to benefit by going to every class, just like you would in person. Online, same thing. The next question, what does an average day look like at Sask Polytech? I get a lot of these questions because it is different than other post-secondary. So if you have done like university, you tend to have, a class in the morning, maybe another class, then you have lunch, and then maybe one more in the afternoon. At Sask Polytech, most of our programs, you will have like 6 hours of class a day. Right? If you're a full-time student, our classes tend to be back-to-back. They are a lot of class time, but we have shorter programs, so it gets you through them quickly. But an average day, you're going to be in class for most of it, okay? With a lunch break, usually maybe a coffee break in the morning, afternoon. There are 10-minute breaks between classes, but you can expect to be in class most of the day. And lastly, do I need textbooks? Student always asks, do I actually need them? Yes, you do. Okay. And how do I know which ones, where I can buy them? If you go to the bookstore, they have lists for each class. You can search your program, search your class, get a list of the textbooks, and then buy them from the bookstore or Amazon if you want. But bookstore will definitely have the right ones, is the one thing I will say. Or the Spsa does have used books, which is also a great option. You just want to make sure you are getting the right one. But honestly, you do need to buy your textbooks. It is going to make your life a lot easier. And to repeat what we said before, you can't get textbooks from the library. And they don't have your textbooks. You can't borrow them, sadly. You have to. It is part of being a student. You got to purchase your textbooks. Okay, so those are the questions. The last thing I just want to end with is how to actually find us in Learning Services. Like I said, we are in the library on most campuses, and there's quite a few different ways you can actually interact with us. So you can book an appointment, either for in-person on campus or online through Zoom. Okay? We have pretty standard hours between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. for in-person. However, we do have some tutorials, okay, and some tutoring sessions that do go into the evening. So kind of depending on what you need help with, that'll affect kind of when you can book appointments. But for the most part, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. is our standard time. So like I said, appointments can be in person, can be online. If you are on campus, you can drop in. Just drop in, say, hey, I have a question about this. We will either help you immediately, But if we're busy, we might make you make an appointment and come back. But we will definitely make sure you are scheduled to get more help. In addition, we do have a drop-in Zoom room, which is open Monday to Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And that is just an open Zoom meeting, kind of like this, where you can just go in, one of our lovely learning services people is in there, and ask a question. It can be related to learning services, though honestly, we answer all sorts of questions. So if you're just like, I don't know what this is, I want to talk to a person, hop into the Zoom room, and we will do our best to help you out. So it's kind of like Ask Us Chat, but with video. Lastly, we also have quite a few resources on our learning services page, which is also under the library website. So we're kind of broken into writing, math, well, math and science, and study skills. So any of those guides also have a lot of stuff. If it's like 3 a.m. and you're like, what is a thesis statement again? You can log in there and be like, oh, okay, I kind of remember. I mean, you still might want to come in, book an appointment with us, but you can kind of do some reading in the meantime if you'd like. Okay, I think that's everything. My colleague Diane, also from Regina, is here. Did I miss anything, Diane?
Hello. Nope, I don't think so. We can answer some questions if there are any.
Yeah, what questions do you have about learning services?
So far, there's just a question. A few of them are being answered in the chat. Thank you so much, Nympha and Amanda and Nina. But I guess there's some questions about online textbooks.
Ooh,
how does that work?
Okay, so they're not all exactly the same. Generally, an online textbook is it's cheaper one, which is nice. However, it is, online, so you can access it usually on a tablet, or probably your phone, quite tiny, or just any computer, but you only have access to it for a limited time. So there's like benefits. Again, saves a lot of money. If you like reading on a screen, they're great. They often have, good tools for like highlighting, marking up, etc. But you can't then sell that textbook in the future because it just kind of disappears off your device after a set amount of time. So again, it kind of depends on what type of a person you are, and also what the class is. If you need a textbook just for the class and you're sure in the future, you're like, I'm not going to need that stats textbook, it might be a good option. But if you're like, this is something I might want in the future, to reference it, you might want to go with an actual physical textbook. So again, it's kind of personal choice. A very good question.
Okay. Do we have any other questions that we want to ask in the chat about learning services? Fun fact, that's where I was before student life. So, I have a special place in my heart, learning services. You can always, there's plenty of, email contacts for any questions about learning services. But if ever comes to student life about learning services, I can probably answer too, because I still have some knowledge, though Heather and Diane are.
Yeah, you do.
Of course. Yeah. Maybe it's antiquated knowledge. I don't know. No questions? Other than, is there any risk in purchasing secondhand books? Well, do we have any fun classes? I like that. Okay, we'll get there. Sorry.
Yeah, secondhand books. Okay, we have a couple kind of related ones. So Kunali mentioned risk in purchasing secondhand books. I wouldn't say risk. There are some benefits to new textbooks, which Micah brings up. New books have access codes, which tend to give you access to online supports for that textbook. So it can be like practice questions, extra diagrams, etc. So you generally don't get those codes and that access to those online tools if you buy a used book. The only other issue I've seen with used books is if you're in class and your instructor is a new one and you have like last edition, the page numbers might be different and you might be missing some material. Depends. Sometimes textbooks add or retract material. You can like wait and kind of talk to your instructor and kind of see if you want. for the most part, I think used textbooks are great and will get you through and it'll be just fine. Okay, what are the other questions? Can I explain point 3? Oh, okay. So math, if you took math in high school or a few years ago and you just need some, how do I do this again? How do fractions work again? Okay. I would have no idea because I don't do math, I do writing. But we have people who will help you brush up on your math skills. So if it's been a while or you just want to be more confident, definitely book an appointment with Learning Services, and our math instructors are wonderful and will help you out so you're feeling comfortable by the time you're, starting your math class or in your math class. We have lots of textbook questions.
Yeah.
Okay. I missed anything else?
Right. Oh, and okay. Okay, I'm just kidding. This is a little bit off topic. I'm sorry, Heather, but a lot of people are
No, go
asking
for it.
where will these recordings be posted? They will be posted onto our YouTube channel, our SAS Polytech YouTube channel. Just give it a couple of days. I promise they'll be up every single session, but it's just our it's just YouTube/SAS Polytech, I think. But I will send out an email to everyone to let them know where the recordings are. So I promise, just look out for an email from Student Life and you will know. Okay. And again, we're just going to answer the questions that are on topic right now. Okay. So we're not going to talk about internships quite yet, anything like that. Okay.
I see a lot about buying like used books from a previous student. Yes. Yeah, go for it. That's handy. If the class ended in April, I would think that textbook is probably pretty up to date. That seems like probably a good choice. Whether to buy your textbooks before classes start or, after classes start, your instructors won't expect you to have the textbook very first day. So you can wait till like first day of classes. The only thing, there might be lines in the bookstore then, but it's kind of up to you. You can also return textbooks as long as you haven't actually opened them up. So that's, I don't know. Also an option, I guess. But if they're in plastic, leave them in plastic if you possibly want to return them, or else you cannot return them.
Okay. So I think a lot of questions are being answered in the chat, which is wonderful. We love that. Okay, I think we're gonna make this the last question. It looks as though definitely everything's about text, like most things are about textbooks, which is great.
Oh, and what about
can you
the
get
media production course? Is there any research paper? I am not sure. Honestly, most programs tend to have some sort of paper, whether it's a research paper or not. But we like to get students writing because it's an important skill when you're out on the job. You got to be able to write. So I can't say for sure, but probably there's some sort of writing assignment in those courses, I would think.
Okay. And then you already answered if you should purchase your textbooks before classes start. Yes. Oh,
I do refresh writing skills.
That Heather's amazing at that.
Me personally.
And Diane.
Also Diane.
Also Diane. Diane is new to Learning Services, but she knows the institution well. See, she's a bridge between library and Learning Services because she was in library services. Now she's in Learning Services. So she knows it all, Okay. All right. I think we're going to go ahead and move on. But of course, if you have more questions, you can always email Heather or email our Learning Services email, which again, that information will be in the follow-up email that will be sent to all of you, hopefully within an hour of the end of the meeting. Okay. So we're going to move on to accessibility services. And these are some frequently asked questions here. I will give the floor or open the floor to Amy.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Amy Kaufman, and I am one of the accessibility consultants for the Saskatchewan Polytechnic. My portfolio includes Regina campus and Prince Albert campus. Accessibilities also offers appointments Zoom, phone, or in person. So it really doesn't matter what accessibility consultant you're seeing most of the time, what campus we're physically on, because we work interprovincially. And so whatever program or whatever campus you're on, an accessibility consultant would be able to assist you. So I'll just go to the questions. So where do I go if I'm not passing classes and I need help? The first place to go to would be learning services. That would be your first and foremost. Accessibilities works very closely with learning services. And so that would be your first point. If you already know that you have a disability, you have something already diagnosed, that could be either mental health, it could be a physical disability, could be a learning disability, and that also includes ADHD. If that is the case, you can apply to accessibilities before you even start your class. I left the link in the chat for accessibilities webpage, and you can register with us through that website. What happens if I miss many classes? Can I be accommodated due to my disability? Well, if you're missing classes due to medical appointments, you would speak to your accessibility consultant about that. If you know that you will have medical appointments in the future, that would be something that you would want to register with accessibilities with, so that we can discuss those things prior to class and prior to you missing a lot of classes. There is not many accommodations that would cover missing a lot of classes, but there is things that we can work with your program and yourself if it is due to a disability. Number 3, who do I contact if I have an assessment completed if I suspect I have a learning disability? Well, that again would be done through registering with accessibilities. Our intake form has many questions that you can answer with a lot of detail about maybe past struggles with your learning, whether that be a reading or in math. And there has to be some past history. Usually if you do really, really well in elementary and high school and are struggling in post-secondary, that usually doesn't mean a disability, but it could, and we can discuss those things with you in our office on a one-on-one basis. Number 4, can I get help applying for a student loan? Unfortunately not. Our accessibility consultants do not do one-on-one with student loans, but Saskatchewan student loans is an amazing industry that will help you get your loan application completed. Right on the Saskatchewan student loan webpage, there are great videos that are step-by-step to complete your loan. Number 5, are there any scholarships, bursaries available to students with disability? Yes, there is. So first, if you are a Saskatchewan resident, that is the big kicker here. So if you're a Saskatchewan resident, you are eligible for grants and bursaries through the government. And that would be discussed in your accessibility meeting with a consultant, because it just depends on individual and one-on-one needs, what we can apply for with you or not. There is something called a Canadian study grant for those students with disabilities. If you are eligible for that, then you apply for that with your accessibility consultant. It covers costs in areas of tutoring, assistive technology, exam readers, and any other accommodation that might include a cost. So I think I covered all those questions that we have up there, and I'll just kind of peek here at the chat, and I think I just have the one there for an ADHD diagnosis. Is a family doctor able to provide proof of the disability? Some family doctors, yes, will verify that you have a disability. Kelsey, you're unmuted
Oh,
Oh,
there.
sorry about that.
If you have a family doctor that has diagnosed you with ADHD, we do have a form called the verification of disability that you can have your family doctor complete and send into accessibility services. That's another thing with your documentation, because we know that's confidential. And with disabilities, we want that kept very confidential. When uploading or handing in your documentation, make sure that it's right to accessibility services. That way there's no way that it's going to get lost or in the wrong hands. Accessibility services has a high confidentiality that we hold for you and your disability, no matter what your diagnosis. Is there any other questions for accessibilities?
I am seeing a raised hand. That is
okay.
Aiden. I'm unsure, like a digital or a virtual raised
Hi,
hand.
Aiden. Did you have a question, Aiden? Do you want to put it in the chat, or do you want to just ask it out loud?
I think that might have been an accident. Sorry to call you
Oh,
out there, Aiden.
Oh, perfect. Sorry.
Sorry about that.
I hit reactions sometimes in the middle of meetings too. I always like the good hand clap every once in a while. And I understand with accessibilities, it is an individual thing, and we don't like to ask questions to kind of show you out or point you out in a big group like this. We do have over 150 people. So the best place is, and I will send that to us again. So that web, oh, number 4 again. No, you cannot get help applying for your student loan with accessibilities. You would have to go to the Saskatchewan student loan webpage, and there they would do the application. Because Saskatchewan Polytechnic is not in charge of student loans, and that is it's a completely different agency, government agency, they need to help you with those applications and not an outside agency like Sask Polytech. So again, for student loans, please visit Saskatchewan Student Loans webpage and go to the bottom of the page where there's YouTube videos with step-by-step directions. Is there a place to go to learn if you do have a disability? You would work with your accessibility consultant on coming up with the best plan for you individually. So that may include accommodations that would help put you on an even playing field as your colleagues without disabilities. And it would also get you in touch with other parts of Saskatchewan Polytechnic, such as learning services, private tutors, maybe some exam accommodations that would help you with that. So yes, you would work with your accessibility consultant, and we would help you with the different way that you learn. I myself like to kind of change the wording. I don't like the word learning disability. I feel that it's learning different. And so when we find out how you learn a little bit different, it would be the accessibility consultant and yourself working with the program and the instructors on how you learn different to get you that information. Oh, we got more textbook questions. Is there any other questions about accessibilities? Please visit our webpage. There are lots of different links for you that will help you out navigating accessibilities. And I just want to thank you for your time, and thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amy. I'm not muted, am I? It's always the opposite. See, I know some of us clicked the react button on accident. I feel like I know Zoom really well, yet I still started talking while I was unmuted. So, you know, happens to the best of us, right? All right. So last but not least for this, this particular content is going to be Laura from the Spsa. So Laura, take the floor.
Thank you. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming. Welcome. My name is Laura Leslie, and I am with the Student Association, so the SPSA, as you have heard us refer to it a lot. I work on the Regina campus, but I also am in Moose Jaw weekly. We do have a student advocate as well for the North. That position is just vacant right now. So I will be doing the student advocate position for the province for now. So a lot of people don't know what a student advocate is or what they do. So I'll explain myself a little bit and what I do, or us advocates do, and then I'll kind of go into some of the questions. I know some of them have already been answered. So for the sake of time, I'll try to be as quick as I can. So the advocates are there for students who are maybe struggling academically. And so the advocates are well-versed in Saskatchewan Polytechnic policies, due process and regulations. We assist, advise, and advocate on behalf of students. And so if a student is struggling or having some challenges in class, we can be there to help them. And we also aid in conversation and in any dispute resolution within the program. So when does a student seek an advocate? So if you have unfortunately been in a situation where you have been accused of academic misconduct, as well if you have been required to discontinue, been put on academic probation, you don't agree with grades, or if there are concerns about your instructors or Saskatchewan Polytechnic faculty. I guess another thing I should add is the SPSA is a third party, so we're actually a separate structure than Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and so we are not employed by Saskatchewan Polytechnic. We are here to work for the students, and so it is a bit of a third party, so sometimes that helps student feel comfort when thinking about wanting to talk to somebody and they're nervous. We always say, you should never be nervous to talk to anybody within your program. Everybody there is, everybody who works at Sask Polytechnic is here to support the students and see student success. But sometimes, students can feel uneasy about that. And so the SPSA is here as a sort of separate entity. And of course, anything that students come to us advocates for is always confidential. We would never go forward on a student's behalf or speak on a student's behalf unless asked to do so. Usually as advocates, we don't speak for the students. We have them speak for themselves, but we're just there as a support person or somebody who can make sure that policy and due process is being followed. What else can I say about advocates? We always like to resolve any concerns at the most informal level. And so while, sometimes students come to us and they have a concern with something in class and maybe they want to directly go to their dean, we always try to facilitate conversations at the most informal level to get a resolution as quickly as we can and in a positive way for students. So that's something that's really important to note as well. I think that's really it about just explaining the advocacy role. So now I guess I'll get into some of the questions. I know that Amy just answered my first question here, who should I talk to if I'm struggling in class? So I won't really get into that, but again, like always go right to your instructor. Everybody here in this group is great for support, learning services, the library, but you can also come to the advocates. If you do have concerns, we can help you navigate that, but those people are definitely the people that you want to be speaking to if you're having any struggles. Okay, so question number 2, what should I do if I receive academic misconduct? And so the first thing you want to do always is have a meeting with the original decision maker. And so whether that be the instructor or the program head, you want to schedule a meeting with them to understand the misconduct and why that sanction was provided, what violation occurred. So you get a full understanding, and the advocates can definitely be there to be a second set of ears, a support person, again, somebody who's there to make sure that policy and due process is being followed. Us advocates know the policies on academic misconduct, grade appeals, all of that stuff very, very well. And so sometimes students can feel very overwhelmed in those situations. And especially when you have those meetings, a lot of that stuff can kind of just go in one ear and right out the other. So the students have a right to always have a support person in any meetings. And so that doesn't necessarily have to be an advocate, but we are here for that purpose as well. Okay, on to number 3. How do I complete an academic appeal? And so on the Saskatchewan Polytechnic website, there is a section for policies and procedures. And under there, you will find all of the information that has to do with a level 1 school level academic appeal or a level 2 institute level appeal, as well as the grade appeals as well. And so the biggest thing that I always have to really hit home for with students is timelines. All of these things have very, very strict timelines. And so if you are wanting to go ahead and do an appeal, you disagree with a decision or a grade, please make sure to reach out or to look into that right away. Because after the time frame is over, unfortunately, there is nothing that can be done. So that is really unfortunate if you do miss that time frame. So please be mindful of that. Most of those are between 5 and 10 to 12 days. So just be very mindful of that. Okay, so I kind of touched on number 4 about doing a grade appeal. And then number 5, who can I talk to if I'm having issues with an instructor or a Saskatchewan Polytechnic faculty? And so, like I said, the SPSA is a third party. And so we do often receive those complaints about Saskatchewan Polytechnic. Of course, we always recommend students to try to have direct conversations with the other individual first. But if they're not feeling comfortable doing that, or they've already tried to do that and it hasn't been successful, you can certainly come to the SPSA and the advocates will help be a mediator or have, facilitate that positive conversation. I do know that the Student Relations Office does take concerns as well from students about faculty. And I know that they're in a meeting, I think next week, Kelsey, right? And so they'll talk more about that. And so they are there for that reason as well. But we can be a support person through that process too. Okay, so I quickly want to touch on the used textbooks because I know that that was quite a few questions. So the SPSA does sell used textbooks down here. You can come down to the office with your book list and see if we have the books. We do also have our lists online. So you can go to the specific campus that you're on and look on that campus to see if we have that book in stock. Please make sure that you bring your list just because we want to make sure that we are providing you with the most current edition. We can look the lists up as well on the website just as you can, but it's easier if you have your book list from your instructor. And students as well can put books on consignment. And so we don't actually buy books from students. It's that once they're finished, they can put their book on consignment with us. And then when the book sells, they receive the funds for that. And so there is like a small percentage that the SPSA takes. I don't quite remember, but when you have I don't know if they've already been in the orientation or if it will be coming up, but we do have somebody else that will be talking more about all of the other services that the SPSA offers, because we do offer a lot. So I'm just here speaking on behalf of the advocates in regards to our advocacy services, but we do have lots of other stuff like health and dental. We sell transit passes, the bookstore, lots of other stuff. So that, I think, it answers my 5 questions. I have not been keeping an eye on the chat, so I will look through that. But if anybody has any questions.
So yeah, one of them you actually answered. I thought you did read the chat. That was pretty funny about the used textbooks. But and then someone did ask, is the SPSA office located on campus?
Yes, all of our offices are on campus in Saskatoon because there's numerous campuses there. We are on the main campus. Regina, we're right across from the cafeteria. In Moose Jaw, we are, oh, I don't know, Kelsey, where would you say? We're right up from Learning Services. I don't know how to say.
Yeah,
where-
and Moose Jaw, it's like right by, basically around the corner from the security
Yes.
desk, the commissioners at that main entrance there.
Yes. And in Saskatoon, I know we're right down from, I think Student Life, and I can't remember where else is by us, but there's a cafeteria or something near there, but it's not a cafeteria anymore. I think it's more of a lounge space. So yeah.
Worst case, you can ask around too. That's a nice thing
Yeah.
about, honestly, Sask Polytech. Everyone knows a bit of everything and everyone. So you can just go, where's SPSA, to whoever looks friendly, which should be everyone, and they'll point you in the right direction. When in doubt, just ask, right? Oh, and then, we have like,
Oh, bullying
yeah.
related cases.
you seen that? Yeah.
Is there any bullying related cases in any campuses in previous intakes? I'm not sure how to answer that. I mean, I know that there are, if there is bullying or you feel like there's bias or anything like that, you can certainly come to the SPSA and we can help you navigate that. Yeah.
And I am just sending information on where to find your book list if you are not receiving it from your program head. Sometimes it's not even until the first day of classes that those book lists are given out. So just hang tight. But in the meantime, I will send you the link to the bookstore page where you can actually filter out your class, your specific classes, see what you need for that. So I'm going to send that link now in the chat. So.
Okay, and as far as carpooling, that is a huge concern from Regina to Moose Jaw. We know that the housing in Moose Jaw is not great. The SPSA does have a housing registry on our website, and so you can go and look there, see if there's any housing availability. As far as carpooling, we don't offer any sort of service like that, but I do know that there was something that we were looking into, and if anybody else can speak on this, it's not anything to do with the institution or the SPSA, but it's an app that you can get where people carpool, and you can look into that and try to find rides that way. Does anybody else know what it's called? I feel like it's actually called Carpool.
Yeah, we sort of
Look it up while we're sitting here. I'll see if I can find it. It's
Yeah,
not
I'm not
to
totally
do with the institute at all. It's a very separate, but when we were trying to find resolution for some of the students that were having that concern because housing is not great, in Moose Jaw and as well in PA, that was one of the things. So maybe I'll do some research while we're sitting here and put it in the chat.
Thank you, Laura. Okay, so I know we are past 10 o'clock, which I mean, sort of saw that would happen, but it's good because everyone has questions that hopefully are getting answered. So you know what can you do? If you do need to go, of course, you are welcome to. Like I said, these sessions will be posted on our YouTube channel again, just keep a lookout. I will send out an email, hopefully within the next week or so. Every single session will be up because there's 5 total, and this is our second. So thank you again, Laura. Wonderful. You're all just amazing. Thank you all for being here. I am going to quickly mention, because I know that we have a fair amount of international students in this group, which is amazing and just super exciting that everyone wants to come here. It feels so good. But I am going to put Nympha Gill's information and the international email up on the screen, because I don't, unless, and I don't want to keep Nympha terribly long after, but I want you to know where you can go for most questions that I think have been asked already. They're usually questions that should be sent to international. So I just want to put this information on the page, but I will let Nympha introduce herself. And for my other speakers here, if you have places to go, things to do, you're welcome to go ahead and leave as well. Thank you so much for being here. So appreciated. But if not, stick around. Oh yeah, I will after this. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna let Nympha take the floor here. Just a quick introduction, just so you can see her smiling face.
Thanks, Kelsey. So my name is Nympha Gill, and I am one of the international advisors in the Regina campus. I do have actually just a little bit of some information, because I was also getting some questions about carpooling, just in case people start leaving. I do encourage everybody to check our like Facebook or Instagram or whatever online resources that Sask Polytech has, because a lot of the students, specifically international students, they message each other there, and then that's how they kind of find rides. So I'm not aware of the carpooling app. That could be also useful, but I do know that that's one way that they find rides for Regina to Moose Jaw. But yeah, so I am, again, sorry, part of international team. So there's quite a few of us, but I am located in the Regina campus in the Intercultural Center. We are a student support service. So we get quite a lot of questions, anything from study permit questions to what do I do if I fail a class, and so many more. So just because of the privacy issues, we do highly encourage everybody to email international@saskpolytech.ca. If you email my personal address, I might take quite a while before I reply to you. So I highly encourage you go to international so that all of our advisors can, take a look at your issue, and then whoever's the most available right away would send you, a response or an email. And I'm also just gonna put these two links on the chat. One is for the registration for orientation, and one is also for how to book an appointment to see an advisor. So I think that's really helpful. If you have any questions that relates to international, I highly encourage everybody to just book an appointment with us. Yeah.
Perfect. So I think just for the sake of time, any questions, like she said, book an appointment, email international, just that's always an option. I know a lot of international related emails have come to Student Life, which is totally fine, all good, but I generally just end up CCing international anyway. So usually just go that way. It's just, it eliminates the middleman, right? Or middle woman. Okay. So yeah. Oh, and then I received an email, like we got a question. I received an email yesterday to send my visa page. Please, which email should I send that to?
Yeah. So please send that to international@saskpolytech.ca so we can update your file and have your study permit and visa with your information with us.
Yeah. When in doubt, email international. Okay. Okay, and so on that, I just want to put one more plug in here. I will be sending this in the email as well. I know I say that all the time, but I just still want you to know to not panic if you missed anything here or you missed a link or something. I will be putting things in the email that will be sent to you within hopefully an hour or two. Okay, so I want to quickly mention that a lot of the information we've gone over, you can find on the website under the Student Life tab. So under support here, we have accessibility services. We'll be going over this other stuff on other occasions on our other sessions, but accessibility services, especially, that's where you can find them. And then international, again, is right here next to it. I know this is not my best slide, but oh well, when in doubt, go up here. Student Life, we got a lot, but international as well. And then definitely go to the libraries page, right? That's where you can find information about the library, obviously, and learning services. And then one last thing, I got to hype up orientation that has been mentioned a few times. So as Nympha mentioned, there is a specific international orientation that goes for 2 days. It depends on the day for each campus, but if you check this page, all the information is there. I know Nympha did send a link as well, but I assume most of you are familiar with this if you did register for this Q&A session, but if not, check these out. What I want to quickly mention though, because it's like timely, are our campus tours. We have 2 more campus tours on every single one of the main campuses where you just show up, you don't have to register. They are at 3 p.m. on Monday and then 10 a.m. on Wednesday on all campuses at the same time. So there is more information there. I do recommend visiting this link, this orientation link, which I will put in the chat here. So saskpolytech.ca. Oh, saskpolytech.ca/ I should just copy pasted that, but here we are. I like to make things harder on myself. Orientation. Okay, so it's right there in the chat. And aside from that, oh yes, and of course, our in-person orientation, that's not international specific, okay? We have my first 5. This is just for all students. It's very just general and it's fun. So the first week is going to be our welcome week, which is just lots of fun events going on around the lunch hour. Again, you don't have to register. You'll just be there. you will know what's going on. I promise you, a lot of it will be outside, weather depending. So please participate on your lunch breaks. I promise your instructors will know about it. They'll tell you to go, come outside or go to our community services fair, which is on the Wednesday. There will be something going on every day. Okay, so please interact and be part of it. It's great. Oh, some of you found the annotation button. We love it. Okay. All right, and if you have tuition fee questions, if you are international, that right, or would that would still be sent to International NYMFA, or would that be enrollment for tuition fee questions?
I am not sure specifically what the student is asking. So if you are an international student, if you have any questions regarding your tuition fees, send us an email. And then if it's for finance, then we'll forward it to finance, but you can start with us for sure.
Okay. Perfect. Yep, you got it. Email international if you got any questions about your visa and all of that, okay? All right. So again, if you have other questions, you know who to contact. You'll get that email from me soon. I think we'll wrap it up though, because we have gone over a bit, which again was to be expected, but hey, we had good questions, so I can't really complain, right? So thank you all for coming. I'm really excited about this turnout. It's great. And thank you again to our panelists. You are also wonderful. Thank you for taking the time out of your day. I know a lot of you just got back from holidays and there's a lot to catch up on. So it is very appreciated that you took this time out of your day. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Well, first, oh yes, I will stop sharing here. So thank you again all. You can always email. I will put it again in the chat. Student life. You're just going to be getting a lot of emails, but what's wrong with that? Or emails to email to. Has a lot of prepositions. Studentlife@saskpolytech.ca. If you have just general questions, I can always direct you to the right place. However, if it is an international question specifically, please email international, because then you just eliminate the middleman, right? Okay. Thank you all so much. I think we will end it here.